Hey guys, let's change the topic today. Let's talk about international affairs. Today is Friday the 13th, so it really means like a bad luck, but nothing, it's more bad luck than the Trump administration's international affair and its consequences now. I think there are three issues why the Trump administration, the international affair, international policy failed. It basically derived from three things. Number one is the might makes right. That famously that we all know that Stephen Miller is one of them, but Trump is also, and Netanyahu is no exception. They are the same gang, if you will. They all believe the same thing that Mike makes right. Okay, and the second belief is that they strongly believe international exceptionalism or American exceptionalism. For Americans, for the U.S., they believe the U.S. is exceptional. For Netanyahu, he believes himself is exceptional and Israel is also exceptional. And finally, the third one is that we have an internal lobbyist that make it anything any danger will be enlarged, expanded quickly. Okay? I want to make one point that, and then I come back to the thing. My key point is that the international law actually applies to everybody because it's beneficial to everybody, even to strong guys like the U.S., like Israel in the Middle East. Israel is the strongest. Nobody can argue that. So let's go back to this internal. Let's starting from the internal lobbyist. I really believe that the U.S. should do something on the legal front. Because guys like Lindsey Graham, it's basically actually it's doing something really reveal that he does not have the American interest in his mind. Because the reason I'm saying that is that he's actually trying to teach Netanyahu how to lobby Trump. Okay, so that's so you're getting paid as a senator. You're getting paid by your state resident, by your state citizen, by the entire country. You're one of the national leaders. You are working for Israel. No matter how much you like Israel, it doesn't matter. You don't forget that you are paid. Your job is paid. You are elected by the citizen of this country, by the resident of your state. That's just it's the closest to a trader. If anybody is a trader, he is the closest trader. Really, we should start some oversight committee should do something, and so otherwise those guys they have a very low moral obligations. If you don't stop them from outside, they never stop them because they'll see whatever, because they believe might makes right. So if they have a power right now in their hands, they'll do anything that to their capacity to maximize their own. I'm sure that he got a lot of money from pro-Israeli lobbyist, for his election. But so this is one thing that the other thing is that Trump and Netanyahu is such a lovely duos. They're just they really should come together. As the best friend. You know, so just look at Netanyahu said. He was basically says to Trump. Let's start from Trump. Trump basically told the Israeli president, which is basically a token figure according to the U.S. To the Israeli law. But he was just saying that the Israeli president should give the amnesty of the excuse me to Netanyahu. You know, Netanyahu said in response says that Trump can say whatever he on his mind. But don't forget that Trump is saying that as a sitting president, as a private as a private citizen, you can say whatever you like, but as elected officers, top executives, you're not allowed to say anything on your mind. Whatever is on your mind. You have to think about this. So you have to respect the law. You have to respect the sovereignty of the Israel. But on the other hand, look at the Netanyahu. I mean, he has been a statesman for so long, and he doesn't even understand the basic difference between private citizen and statesman. Okay, so you can imagine that how would this guy put the Israeli or anybody else is interested on above his own personal gain. So that's one of the thing. You know, the other point I want to make is that right now, by the time that the Iranian war has been like 12 or 13 days, okay, and then one thing we should all recognize that Trump is basically an emperor without clothes. It's just naked emperor. I read some post and a commentary saying that Trump is such a praising Trump's bravery, praising Trump for his strategic insight. No, that's not it. That we all know. If the war approached today, you should know that Trump has no strategy. He has no insight. He's so easy to be gamed. He's basically naked emperor. It's just the worst. The worst. I would say, I don't know much about the other president, but Trump is, in my mind, he is definitely one of the worst president in the U.S. history. He's a naked emperor. That's what one thing to summarize that. Don't try to romanticize it. Don't think that Trump is a strategic insight. Great deal makers. He's nothing. He's probably the worst part is that he doesn't even like to study. I don't think he likes to read. I don't think he like to learn from his past. No, he's never. He's not none of that. That's why I call him the worst president. Key point that I want to make in this video is that international law is actually to the best interest of everybody. Why? Because there was a very good article it's written by academia on I think the platform is called Conversation or something. The article author cited that Netanyahu is calling himself the good guy and then calling the Iranian guys the bad guys. But that's so common. Every time you can always see people, whether it's in the U.S. or in Israel, or you always see people labeling, randomly calling somebody else as the bad guy, and then to provide justice to preemptive strike. But that's where the danger is. That's where the international law is useful, because it prevents anybody from randomly calling somebody else as a bad guy and then provide a justification for start launching the preemptive strike, or even if not a preemptive strike, it will be unjust strike. That's where the danger is. Instead of allow everybody to call everybody else as the bad guy, we have to follow the law. We have to follow the rule, and we have to provide the fact. And that's why that's benefited everybody. Because otherwise, war has its own logic. Once it's started, it's not easy to stop. But the reason that I say that following international law is to the benefit of the U.S. It's because U.S., even though you're such a stronger country, Iranian will provide the best case scenario to show that even despite the significant power asymmetry, you have to understand that countries like U.S. and Israel have their own vulnerability, have their own weakness, mostly in the domestic side. Mostly in the domestic market the people, Trump's wars basically so far it's been one of the least popular war in the U.S. So that's why the U.S. government, the Trump administration are vulnerable because the domestic consequence will backlash, will hit them hard. So making the war hard to continue. So he had to find a way. Like I said at the beginning, I said that Trump could have stopped. The claim that the killing the supreme leader of the Iran, it's probably he's the best thing that he can brag about. But now it's much harder. So let's stop here.